The third narrative I want to quickly mention related to the Bowe Bergdahl release prisoner swap with the 5 Gitmo detainees is the criticism that we're hearing that Bergdahl didn't deserve to be rescued because 6 to 8 people died specifically looking for Bergdahl, and that he was a deserter and we shouldn't have been looking for him in the first place. There's no evidence of that, in spite of the fact that that rumor started. And in spite of the fact that corporate media is now starting to parrot that 6 to 8 different soldiers died specifically because they were looking for Bowe Bergdahl, there is no actual evidence that that ever happened. The New York Times has a very interesting article which points out that if you actually review the casualty reports and the military logs from the Afghanistan war, it shows that the actual facts on the ground of these 6 to 8 deaths supposedly attributable to Bowe Bergdahl because he deserted and then people went looking for him are really quite murky. In some of these cases, there were deaths in an area where they had been told to be on the lookout for Bowe Bergdahl, okay? And while doing patrols, which in part were connected with, let's be aware that this guy Bergdahl might be around, people died, soldiers died, and that's of course tragic. However, to suggest that those same soldiers who died, if it were not for the missing Bergdahl, would have been doing nothing at all, sitting in a completely safe green zone fortified type area is ridiculous. And as has been made clear, if they weren't on the lookout for Bergdahl, they would have been doing patrols anyway, because that's what they do. And if you go through, Lewis, each and every one of these alleged deaths linked to Bowe Bergdahl, there are no definitive details that really link him to those deaths in the way we're hearing from the corporate and conservative media.
Right. I think the media kind of took this and ran because it was nice and juicy, but we don't really know the story. And you're right about soldiers. I mean, I think it's kind of just par for the course that you're putting your life at risk when you go over there, when you enlist. I don't like people coming up with these stories and circumstances in which it's okay for a soldier to get hurt and killed while over there, and it's okay in certain instances not to.
Well, think about another example, Lewis, where the example would be, well, fine, but they wouldn't have been killed. Yeah.
The exception would be something like friendly fire or complete incompetence on behalf of your fellow soldiers or superiors.
And even in those cases, Lewis, so-called troop supporters are very quick to write that off as the casualties of war. And the reality is, you might go look for someone who is a little disillusioned with what's going on in Iraq or Afghanistan. That's just par for the course as well. And when we hear that, oh, we should look in this area because we might have an injured soldier there, and it turns out that it's an ambush, does the person who made the decision to go into that area get blamed for any of those deaths? Or do we say, well, these things happen in war? The hypocrisy and double standard around this is just unbelievable.
It is, right. People are using this at their convenience, and it's sickening.